Today, I'm going to tell you a little story about Mark and Emily. Let's talk about Mark. So, Mark isn't a loser, and that's the problem. All right. He's not a loser, just like many of you guys. He wakes up at 6:30 every morning, same alarm, same time, stares at the same ceiling. And then when he gets before he actually his feet touch the ground, he scrolls for about 10 minutes or so on social media and on the internet. And not because he wants to or it's particularly stimulating, but because it's easier and a habit. It's become habit and it's easier to do that than to actually get up on time. And so that's what he does, right? And so then he finally gets up, gets and he goes to work. At work, Mark is a competent guy. He's reliable. And just like many of you, competent guys who, you have your things that you're doing, right? You're also invisible. Okay. So Mark's invisible, just like a lot of you guys. And no one's worried about Mark. No one thinks about Mark. If Mark stopped breathing, it would be many days before anyone checked on Mark. Okay. And no one's impressed by Mark either. Okay. By the time Mark gets home, he's tired, but in a way that sleep isn't going to fix. It's just sort of blah, right? And he's not it's not a physical tired, it's just feeling flat. So he'll eat something, usually something processed. He'll sit on the couch, maybe throw on the television, maybe not. Throw on something on the streaming service, I'll open his phone, and then maybe a few hours will escape just like that. Maybe he'll do a little bit of porn, jerk off, take off the edge. Maybe he'll do a little bit of scrolling, see what everybody's up to, and compare himself to others on the internet without really, admitting to himself that he's doing that. And he'll tell himself, all right, well, you know what? I haven't been on it. I haven't been out with a chick in a while. I'm gonna date. I'm gonna get to update my dating profile. I think I'm gonna go do that. I think I need to get some photos done. Maybe I need to go update the dating profile. And he says that to himself. But then the next day, what I call the 25-meter targets, the things you have to do, those things set in, and that update of a dating profile never actually happens. That's just the thing he tells himself week after week as he sits there with no dates, no pussy, right? No one to love him. Okay. Not a lot going on. And on weekends, he might hang out with friends or he might go out to the local bar and he drinks. Nothing crazy, nothing out of control, just drinking. You know what I mean? Just to sedate himself and try to feel some sense of enjoyment from his work week. He's got his fantasy football, he's got his sports. He'll watch sports on Sunday. All right. But Sunday night might hit him the hardest. He might be laying in bed, staring at his phone after a day full of laying around watching sports or doing a few light chores. And he's going to watch people on his phone living lives, that he feels disconnected from relationships, trips, inside jokes, moments, connections, goals, accomplishments. Mark doesn't feel jealous. He's not vindictive. He's not like this angry incel or anything like that, getting mad at everybody else's success. He just doesn't feel anything. He just scrolls it, looks for the next meme, a meme. Like that? My little acting. That's Mark on the phone. Anyway, that's the reason why I'm not in Hollywood. But yeah, he doesn't feel anything, and it kind of sometimes that'll scare him. All right. Mark's single. He's been single for a while. His last girlfriend broke up with him. That was, a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. And it's not like rejection makes him nervous. It's not like he can't talk to people. It's not like he's afraid. He just no longer feels that pull towards doing things that he knows that he probably should do. And dating feels like effort. Going on a date or two a girl's fatter than a profile picture, bitchier than she was over text. You know what I mean? After dealing with text after text of uninterested, apathetic women, women who just don't know how to hold a conversation, making him feel like he has to jump through lots of hoops just to get on a coffee drink or to go on a date with grab a drink or even a dinner or something, right? Like if he's going all out on a first date just to get some overweight kind of bitchy girl, or maybe she's nice and fun on the date, but then she doesn't call him back afterwards, right? And so he just gets like, why am I going to do this? It feels draining. And women feel complicated. He doesn't understand them, right? He tells himself, but he'll get pumped up, maybe tell himself, I'm working on myself. I'm working on, working on my goals or whatever. But another year passes, another night passes, nothing bad happens. He's surviving. But Mark is a slave to the system. And he is just hitting, 25-meter target after 25-meter target. Just whatever's in front of him, he takes care of that. And he's generally apathetic about trying to do anything else. He's not sad. He doesn't cry at night. He's not depressed. He's just numb, right? He's just not motivated. He just doesn't want to do things. You see, the days of 5 years ago where everyone got pumped up and we're going to kill our goals and we're going to crush it. We're going to do this and all the hype, in the business world, like the Grant Cardone kind of hype. You know what I mean? Let's crush it, whatever. A lot of fucking pump it up stuff, right? Guys in 2025, 26 now. Guys in 2026 aren't pumping it up anymore. They're complacent. Their testosterone is drying up, right? They're not at rock bottom, but they're not doing anything. There is no wake-up call for Mark. There is no, wow, things are really bad. I need to kick my own ass and get into gear. That doesn't happen for Mark. He just slowly trades off this. Okay. This. Slowly trades this off for real relationships, connections, goals, making a dent in the universe, accomplishments. And it won't be years till years later he realizes, part of this loneliness epidemic. Okay. So that's it. That's Mark. And that's why Mark won't achieve anything in 2026. Mark doesn't even, the idea, not that you should necessarily have a New Year's resolution. If you have goals that you're doing all the time, the New Year's resolution isn't a big deal, right? But most people, that's not what it is. They don't have a New Year's resolution because they're so apathetic that the idea of coming up with any resolution at all at any time of year just doesn't even occur to them. The idea of learning new skills to do better at dating, so you're not just sitting in front of some unappreciative 6 out of 10, you know what I mean? And you had to fight to get her on a date, talk to 50 girls to get this unappreciative, barely not even really happy to be there kind of girl on a date. You know what I mean? Like, there's better skills you need to learn and stuff you need to do, actions you need to take. And it's so easy when you learn the skills. It really is. And it's so simple when you have those skills, you take the action. But a guy like Mark doesn't even know where to start. A guy like Mark would come across this video. It's too fucking boring. And he scrolls off and he looks for someone screeching in a TikTok or whatever that he can. I'll send that meme to my group chat with my guys on the fantasy league. You know what I mean? Fucking dorks, man. And that's unfortunately a lot of Marks out there. Many of you are kind of a Mark, but you're listening to this right now, so you're looking to do better. But many of you have been Mark. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. And that's what's going to kill you. That is what's going to fucking make your life worthless. That is what's going to cause you to get to a point when there's a trigger. For a guy like Mark, he'll get along to get along until something triggers that thing in the brain. It'll be a loss. He'll get that girlfriend or wife and then get divorced. Whatever will happen, that trigger will happen. And then Mark is looking at sucking on a shotgun barrel. That's what Mark might be doing. And that's what many of you guys might be doing too. You're about one step away from that because you are apathetic. And here's the thing. The system is designed to make you that way, right? It's not even fully your fault. It's just your responsibility to fix. Now let's pivot. So Emily, she works with Mark, works in the same office. It's an office. Emily has it's a daycare center for women, right? Emily has a decent email job, a high overpaid email job, as many women do, right? She responds to emails, makes phone calls for, a higher amount of pay than what a lot of laboring guys who work 10 times harder get. That's Emily. She's, her friends make TikToks about making coffee and starting their day in the office as their little girl grind happens when it's really just going to daycare. But Emily's not a bad person. Emily's not broken, and Emily, she's capable. Like, she could probably do more, but she's, the world that is run by really simp like men provide email jobs for women in offices. And so that's where she is. She's capable of doing more, but why would you when she feels overwhelmed? And so Emily is overwhelmed, and it's not because, and so Emily wakes up in the morning just like Mark does. Emily checks her phone just like Mark before she gets out of bed. She has messages. She has notifications. She has likes, unlike Mark. She has all the attention, a couple of DMs, from dudes or whoever. There's someone seeking Emily's attention all the time. Emily is about mid-level of attractiveness. She's not super hot. She's not ugly. She could probably lose a few pounds, but she's not grossly overweight or grossly. She just would need to go to the gym, but she's overwhelmed, so she doesn't go. But she's cute, has a cute face or whatever. She would be decent for somebody if she could get herself together. But yeah, she'll read those few DMs. She didn't ask for them. She's not desperate for attention. But why would she be desperate for attention when it's already there all the time, constantly? Like every woman who's average or above average is a constant influx of attention that Mark doesn't get. Mark's invisible. Emily, she's a star of the show, whatever that show is. Might be a really shitty show. Might be some crappy, low production value, after school special type of a show that she's in, but she's in a show. She's not invisible. She goes to work, she is capable, and people would describe Emily as doing well, right? They wonder, well, what's your relationship life like? And by the end of the day, though, she's mentally tired. She's, exhausted in a way that's hard to explain. Emily has got this in front of her face more often even than Mark does. She's scrolling all the time. She's scrolling her TikToks, her news feeds, reading this thing, looking at that. Another meme. Meme. And so she's doing that, right? And she watches TV while she scrolls. She eats while she scrolls. She'll even hang out with friends and occasionally has been on a date and gotten bored on the date and decided to scroll. She sees a lot. She does get remember, she is the star of a very shitty movie that she's playing in her head, um, where men are around to give her attention. She sees men trying too hard to get her attention and gives her the ick. And then, but the men who are trying too hard are the occasional, um, kind of creepy guys at work who don't have really any game but aren't afraid to be creepy, or guys in her DMs who are constantly, hitting her up and saying weird shit and saying gross things, getting angry and upset as soon as she doesn't respond or, give them what they want. I mean, that's the men trying too hard. And then there's the other guys who are attractive, they don't give her the ick, and they don't seem to be trying hard at all. She's noticed Mark, doesn't know Mark by name. He works on a different floor. Um, she's in the email job daycare center on the second floor. Mark's like on the third floor. And so she's noticed him. Seems like he's cute, but Mark doesn't seem to notice anything, and Mark doesn't try. And so that's just like most men that she might be interested in that don't give her the ick. They're not even trying. And she will see couples, but on the internet, and then that's performative happiness that she's supposed to have. Everybody tells her what she's supposed to do, and she has endless opinions of what she should do that's coming her way. And it's just very, very exhausting for Emily. When a guy asks her out, when a guy shoots his shot, her first feeling isn't excitement, isn't joy, isn't like, cool, like this is great, I'm gonna go out on this date. Her first feeling is fatigue, attention fatigue. She takes a break from her scrolling to look at that DM or that text that a guy may have sent. And she thinks to herself, oh my God, I have to get ready. I have to do all these things to go on this date, to have conversations with this guy. Oh, it's exhausting. She's fatigued, even if the guy's halfway cute. That's the funny part about Mark not noticing her. If Mark were to ask her out, that would be her response. Oh, and she would ghost. She might ghost that guy completely, or she'll, respond, but delayed response because it's like, oh, what do I do? I'm so tired. Okay. I'm just not feeling it. Oh, right. And it's true. She's not feeling it because she's been desired all day long. She's getting desire all day long from this. From this, she's getting desire. You guys can see my cute girl there on the screensaver. She's getting desire all day long. But it's digital desire. It's not real. She's getting compliments. She's getting attention. She's getting validation. Unlike Mark, who's invisible, Emily gets all the attention, but it's digital attention. And that digital attention doesn't require any investment back from her. Real dating is different. Real dating means that she has to actually invest. She actually has to put effort in. She has to figure out what she's going to wear, whether she's going to do her makeup or not, how she's going to do her hair, show up, put a smile on her face, try to hold a conversation, try to ask good questions, try to respond well to this guy, try to get the guy to like her even. Because even if the guy is an average guy and she's not that excited about him, being rejected by an average guy doesn't feel so good. So she has to try. And man, when that text comes through, she doesn't even want to try. Real dating asks her to have a personality. Real dating asks Emily to be patient, to be present, to be uncertain, have a little bit of anxiety of how things are going to go, and risk her self-esteem a little bit, risk disappointment. And she gets free attention all day long. So where's the dopamine drive to go on that date with a guy that she just sort of connected with, but doesn't have that excitement with, because she's not going to have that excitement for most guys, because most guys don't have game, but they shoot their shot. They may be good guys. They might be okay once she gets to know the guy, but his game is not really good. So he can't inspire that desire and fight through that apathy that she has because of the constant digital attention that she receives. So, she keeps her option open. It's not because she's, a bitch or a bad person. Just because any level of commitment, to me, to even consider going on a date, let alone committing to somebody, feels draining. And all of her nights end the same way, very similar to Mark. Phone in hand, but not really content. Not really happy, but not really sad. Just there. A quiet sense that something is missing, and there's just no urgency or drive for her to chase it. Her parents want her to get married someday. Maybe you're getting older, Emily. You should consider a nice guy and settling down and having kids. All right. She's not lonely because she's surrounded by attention, but she's lonely because that attention is very shallow and it's digital and there's no connection there. And she can't remember the last time that she felt like deeply chosen by an attractive guy, or even better, that she's deeply choosing and trying to get chosen by a guy that really gives her those excited feelings again. She hasn't had those excited feelings since a teenager. Emily's about 32 now. Okay. And so she's just too emotionally full of noise to notice Mark, other than to think he's cute, but then see that he's just a guy that doesn't approach her. And Mark doesn't think to approach her, even though he would think she was cute if she would show some interest. So they pass each other occasionally in the parking garage, Emily going to her email job floor and Mark going to his perform or get fired floor. And that's it. And that'll be another fucking year for Mark and Emily. And I just described the lives of millions of people out there, because apathy is what prevents people now from having real dating experiences. Now, in Emily's case, Emily, she might choose to like somebody in Emily's position could go one way or the other. One way is to fuck lots of random guys. So some people in Emily's shoes will just have a guy that she bangs. She'll cycle through guys that she bangs. Emily, herself probably isn't going more than 2 months without sex. She's got a guy that she will call an ex, a guy who will cheat on his girlfriend, whoever. When she needs to get laid, she will go to a familiar face and a familiar penis. Mark will be an incel. That's how that goes. Okay. Now some girls in Emily's position turn into turbo sluts, get their notches way up. Some do not. Some people in Emily's positions withdraw completely and go a year or longer without having any sexual contact. There are female incels out there who are just not doing anything. And Emily would be an 8 out of 10. She would be attractive and hot, maybe even hotter if she would hit the gym and really take care of herself and really build her personality so that she's vibrant. But she doesn't do any of those things. And Mark would be pretty attractive fucking guy. He's already taking care of himself and he does those a lot of things, but he doesn't feel apathy. He doesn't feel the motivation. So yeah, these are two people who are apathetic. and they're not achieving anything. And we used to have that motivation, that grind. There was an era for a little while, again, right before COVID, of let's grind, let's get into it, like get excited, get motivated, pump it up. Let's go achieve shit, accomplish goals, kill it, have good all that stuff. Now 2026, and it's by design. It's by design. All right. And the thing is, if you don't do something, because this is what the social conditioning is now. So if you don't do something actively to change it, you're going to be Mark. Maybe you get married, maybe you don't. Mark being married and finding some wife isn't going to save him. It actually will make his life worse, because it's going to be a transactional relationship that is apathetic, where two people don't really care about each other that much. There's no sex in that house and nobody's fucking happy. That's the marriage a guy like Mark gets into. For if he even is making up the 51% that gets married, there's the 49% that don't even get into relationships, right? So like, people are subsidizing real connections and accomplishments with a digital illusion. And that's what this is about. And that is what is going to fuck you. That is what in it, because it's everywhere and it's by design. And if you don't do something about it, actively do something about it, you're going to be the same, we'll say loser, because to me, Mark's a loser, even though he's not a loser, but he kind of is. You know what I mean? You're going to be in that same middle category by 2027. We'll be having this conversation again. Right? And so, like, what are you going to do about it? That's the question. How about now? What? Psychopaths are evil, but they are successful. And not because they're evil. They're successful because they're effective. The average man is drowning in overthinking, fear, people-pleasing, and hesitation, while the most ruthless personalities walk through life winning, while you are struggling and you are losing. But here's the truth. You don't need to be a psychopath to win. You just need to learn the traits that they mastered and use them without being immoral or having poor ethics. Focus so sharp that it cuts through distraction. Charm that bends social dynamics. Resilience that makes you unshakable. Ruthlessness, but with empathy for others. The ability to say no without guilt. Fearlessness in the moments that matter. Mindfulness that kills anxiety, and action taking that separates leaders from followers. This isn't about becoming a terrible person. It's about becoming powerful. Someone who leads, someone women trust and desire. Someone who commands his world instead of just reacting to it. And that's why I created the Psychopath's Playbook, a complete system for the good men, the non-psychopathic men, but for men who want the results without becoming evil, and without wasting years of trying to figure it out alone. This is an inner game course that will allow you to tap into that thing that you have been missing, that thing that's inside of you that will allow you to make more money, seduce women, and succeed. If you're ready to unlock the traits that make the world's most effective men untouchable, click the link and get into the community. When this course drops, you will get your exclusive announcement, and you'll be on the list before it fills up. And together, we'll make you unshakable, undeniable, and unstoppable. This is where your old self ends and your rise begins. I'll see you there. All right. Well, this is dropping soon, guys. That is Psychopath's Playbook. That course is dropping soon. It's going to happen before the end of the month. And the reason why I'm being vague about it, because I want you to join my community to get the invite. Okay. So that is your opportunity is now to do that. Before you will miss out on that. And that'll be a shame. Okay. Now, so yeah, it's going to be good. And I'm really excited about the course, man. This material is sick. So I'm just excited about it. And I hope that you are too. And so get over there if you're not there already.